Ooh, welcome back to the Boneyard Podcast, everybody. This is your host, Jared Shaffett, along with my best friend, good friend,
Artemis, bro.
We're coming to you this week with episode 207. 207. Artemis,
Yes, sir.
how are we doing?
I'm so excited. We're doing great. It's football season, baby. We're here. We have an actual legitimate game that's going to happen this weekend. All right. Week zero. Week zero only doesn't really matter to anybody outside of Florida State and Georgia Tech fans. But still, we've got a legitimate college football game being played in 2 days. And the regular season starts in a week. And we are here. We are here, baby.
So excited for football season. And Artie, you say it's only legitimate for the Florida State Georgia Tech fans.
I know there's other
Do not
other teams playing, but that's for the sickos. I'm not talking about the sickos.
Do not disrespect the Delaware State.
I'm not talking about the sickos.
What is it? Delaware State Hornets. I think that's their mascot.
Yeah.
Traveling on the road to the great state of Hawaii on Saturday night at midnight.
Jared was not joking when he says he's going to keep it with Hawaii football. If you want to know what's going on with Hawaii football, you need to follow Jared Shaffett. Jared Shaffett's going to know what's going on with Hawaii at all times.
I'm just gonna. We're gonna start the Rainbow Warrior podcast here, like that. All we'll talk about is Jeff Gordon and Hawaii football.
Hawaii football.
I see Josh in the behind the scenes, kind of giving me a look, talking about Jeff Gordon. And yes, Courtney, that is right. I do know everything. To be fair, so shout out to Courtney watching. Artie.
Yes, sir.
Episode 207. Do you have a number 7 for me?
You know, I didn't look up a number 7 this week. I don't have another number 7. The only person I can think of that's chalk, but like kind of disrespected to me a little bit, just a little bit, just because of the era that he came in. He honestly was drafted with arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, and then drafted with other Hall of Famers and greats. And he's kind of forgotten a little bit. I wouldn't say forgotten, but just a little kind of just, lowered pedestal. That's one, Carmelo Anthony. I gotta give Carmelo some love. One of the greatest players of all time to never win a ring. Should have got one in a Knicks jersey, but the Knicks were just a terrible franchise. Couldn't do enough to put around them. They had a great team. I think 2014 to 2012 to 2015, something like that, when they had Stoudemire and Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith, and that was a solid squad. But they were never going to beat Miami. They were never going to beat Bosh and Wade and Bron. They weren't going to beat my Bulls either. They were going to beat D. Rose and Nokeem or Noah and Carlos Boozer. But I got to give Carmelo some love. Number 7, all-time great number 7. There's a lot of great number 7s, but I got to give Melo some love.
For sure. That's a good one. I'm going, Artemis, with a year. The year of 1907, the year that East Carolina University was originally chartered.
Good plug.
As, East Carolina's Teachers Training School back in 1907, March 8th, which, Artie, I'd have to go back and check, but I think the first Boneyard podcast came out March 8th, 2020. I may be wrong, and that's totally a coincidence, but I'm pretty sure.
We actually have to look up when we dropped the first episode.
I'm pretty sure episode 1 of the Boneyard podcast dropped March 8th, 2020.
I do remember it being right after my birthday. So
it was right after your birthday. We had just come back from Chicago, and it was a week before the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
For COVID, right? So because we took that week off. We did one episode and we took a week off, and we said, are we going to do this, or are we going to wait till COVID's over and figure out what's happening in the world of sports? And we were like, you know what? We're getting into the content game. If you're doing content, you got to do content during COVID when nobody else is doing anything, even when there's nothing really to talk about. We did content. I mean, that gave us plenty of time to like source interviews, and that's why like early on, I'll be honest, early on some of the interviews were fire. If you haven't listened, we interviewed Mike Golick.
Yeah, I was about to say the first 50 episodes of the Boneyard podcast are pure golden. They're all golden, but like them first 50, I mean, we was hitting numbers. Like we was really in our bag. So
and we were getting back to that. That's the plan, right? So we got to get back to that. That's our roots, is having just dynamite guests, and it's been imitated by others, but
duplicated
hasn't been fully duplicated, because we are still the premier podcast of Pirate Nation. I was thinking about that already. I haven't said that in a while, but we are. I was looking it up. We still show up as the first podcast when you search East Carolina on Apple. So at least when I searched it, and I follow a peek behind the scenes. I follow all the podcasts and actually listen to all the podcasts that cover East Carolina. Even our competitors, I listen to them. I'll be honest, that's just me being me. All right, Artemis.
Yes, sir.
We're a week away from week 1. How do you feel about week 0? Week 0 is, why not just call it week 1 and be done with it? How do you feel about calling it week 0?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's simply because you really only have one marquee matchup, because really the rest of the matchups are just
Hawaii versus Delaware State.
Yeah, I mean these are schools that nobody's watching. I mean, let's be honest. Florida State, Georgia Tech is the only game this weekend that anybody's going to give a damn about. It comes on at 12 o'clock, by the way. It's not an afternoon game. It's not a mid-afternoon game. It's not a night game. It's a 12 in the afternoon. As soon as you're done eating breakfast, you got Florida State and Georgia Tech. So, and that's it. Then you got to figure something else out for the rest of the Saturday. But I don't mind it, just simply because when you look at the week 1 schedule, it's legit. You got matchups out the wazoo. Everybody's playing, obviously. So the week 0 thing, I don't mind. It kind of has some extra flair, some extra little mystique to the college football, and kind of it's like an appetizer, right? It's getting you ready for what you're about to get into for the season. So I don't necessarily mind it. I think this is what we're about to enter into in college football. It's like the golden age of college football with the 12-team playoff coming up. So I don't mind it. Give us this nice little appetizer, right? Little teaser, and it's going to be right there in 7 days.
Yeah. The fact that they're putting that Florida State Georgia Tech game on at noon.
Yeah. But they're playing in Ireland, so I mean, it's probably going to be 6 hours, late. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a night game in Ireland.
That's true. I forget that game's in Ireland.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I mean, SMU Nevada's not a terrible game. I mean, SMU's favored by a lot, but
that's one I'll sit down and watch, though, just because I'm a football fan. I'll sit down and watch that.
And then, yeah, I mean, I don't care about Montana State, New Mexico, or I mean, I just to say that I'm a sicko, I might watch the Delaware State Hawaii game.
I'm not gonna lie, just personally, I might have to give Florida A&M and Norfolk State some love. Just HBCUs in there. Just gotta give them some love. But that's about it.
Just quick programming note. You can't watch the Hawaii game unless you have Spectrum pay-per-view.
Never mind, I will not be watching Delaware State at Hawaii.
Josh, what did you just say?
Spectrum pay-per-view is what the note is.
I have Spectrum, and I've never heard of Spectrum pay-per-view.
Yeah, so you gotta have Spectrum. I guess it's a pay-per-view event only through Spectrum. So like you gotta be a very specific class of person to get that Hawaii game.
Gotta be a very important person, a VIP.
But yeah, watch that FAMU Norfolk State game. ABC.
That one actually might be a pretty good one. I'm with Josh on that. That A&M Norfolk State game might be a pretty good one.
Am I seeing this right? Is Montana State a 2-touchdown favorite against the FBS team?
Yes, a 12.5-point favorite, depending on where you're looking.
I'm seeing on ESPN. I'm looking at the ESPN app. I'm seeing a 13.5-point favorite for Montana State.
Yep.
over New Mexico.
Isn't Montana State good though?
Yeah, but like I mean, it's still.
I know it's not. They're not Division I, but like still. Right?
I mean, they're division. They're FCS. They're. We'll show them credit. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably tune into that Florida A&M Norfolk State. Get a little intel on our week 1 opponent, the Norfolk State Spartans. But Artie, this week it's been a little weird week. We had media day, and it was kind of strange. Usually, media day is on a Saturday, and we're both there, and it's easy to get there. And then
looking forward to going to media day, but couldn't make it this year.
And then they threw a wrench into things and said, "Okay, we're doing media day on a Monday at 9 a.m. And what else would I do but take off work from the job that actually pays me, and travel down to Greenville, North Carolina, and sit with the ECU football team for about an hour, not even an hour really. We got started late, and then it was good. It was. I'll say this, Artie, and this is probably the fan in me. Every time I go to these, for whatever reason, I become optimistic again.
As we all do.
I get more excited, and I don't think it's an excitement of, hey, like I'm actually believing what they're saying, because I do believe what they say, but also like we know coach talk, football talk, like, hey, this is what you talk, how you talk to the media. All these players are going through media training, and the coaches, of course, have media training. So they're not going to give anything that's like that we don't already know. Right. So that's why we like to have fun with it here at the Boneyard podcast. Asking some fun questions, getting these players, coaches to smile. But I left this year. Last year, I left feeling disheartened, knowing,
to say the least,
okay, we're gonna go into the season with 2 quarterbacks. Everybody knows the quote: if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. This year, Mike Houston has learned his lesson. Going into the season, they've decided on a starting quarterback. That guy is none other than Jake Garcia. I don't want to say surprised, but I wasn't expecting that news.
Right.
I was fully expecting them to name Caden Hauser, the starter. Your thoughts?
Just the way we've been talking about it, the way we've been like we both have been on this podcast multiple times, several occasions, saying, yeah, the needle is pointing towards Caden Hauser. We fully expect Caden Hauser to be the guy. We thought that Caden Hauser was going to, develop into that or kind of take over the mantle as far as the competition. But we're not at these practices every day. We do not see what JDB and Houston and the rest of these coaches see on a day-to-day basis. And clearly, Jake Garcia was doing something that Hauser was not doing. And that's why he got the starting nod. He was clearly developing more. He was progressing more. He was doing things that the coach said, okay, he's fitting more into our system. A little bit better than Hauser. I do believe Houston when he said this has been a phenomenal race and it's been tight and it was hard to make a decision. I 1,000% believe him when he says that. I think it was a very difficult decision to make, but not shocked, because when you bring both these guys in, obviously you bring them in with the notion of, okay, they're both going to compete and best man's going to win. So no, not shocked, but it did feel like the needle was pointing towards Caden Hauser, and maybe that's what the mystique and the of it was. They wanted us to believe, yeah, needle's pointing towards this guy, and nope, Garcia's the guy. So, because maybe that's what the rest of the media outside world was thinking. Okay, it's going to be Hauser. And then ECU pulls the okie doke on. He's like, nope, Garcia's actually been a guy for quite some time. So, who knows? But I think either way, the right decision has been made, because I have full faith in JDB. I have full faith in Houston at this point in making that right decision. And I'm thankful that they actually named a day 1 starter and did not do what they did last year, which was complete and utter confusion and chaos.
And they did say at times that, hey, you're gonna see Caden Hauser, just like you're probably gonna see Raheem Jeter at points during the season, right? Hauser, I mean, depending on whether he decides to stay or not, after this year. He still has a year of eligibility, right? There's always next year, but who knows? You've got two quality quarterbacks going into the season that I think either of them you would have been fine doing that job. Josh, can you cue up the video of Jake Garcia talking about being named starter?
I feel great. I mean, my freshman year over at Miami, I got to play in one game. Ended up tearing my ankle, tearing five ligaments in my ankle. My first game that I played in, second quarter, finished out the game. Couldn't walk the next day, and then backed up my second year. Got some game experience in there, and then last year at Missouri, didn't take a snap. Was healthy but didn't get to take a snap. So I've been dealing with adversity and whatnot. I mean, going into this year, I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to have this opportunity and go out there and prove something and win some ball games. I feel great. I mean, my freshman.
Oh no, he when talking to Caden Hauser like early on, I felt like, okay, this guy carries himself like a quarterback, right? This guy carries himself like a leader. Right. I hadn't had much interaction with Jake Garcia. I still haven't. I mean, I've talked to him now for a total of about 10 minutes between the spring game and media day. And I will say, like, talking to him and getting to speak with him one-on-one, he's very much he also has that same kind of mentality of a quarterback. Like, hey, I'm the leader. I need to be a leader. And it's not in a bad way. Like, he's not cocky, but he's confident, right? And I think he shows a little more confidence than Caden Hauser at times. But they both have something that says, like, oh, this guy's a quarterback. They're not the same things, but they both have like that. You know, when you talk to a quarterback, like you know, kind of like they just have this like poise about them.
Right. Yeah. They exude confidence. They have that sort of persona where it's like when it gets rough, right? When it gets, I still can stay calm in the storm. I'm going to be able to put it together. I may not be perfect, but I'm going to be able to weather through the storm. So like when you see a guy exude that kind of confidence, that's what you want to see. And I mean, they've both been in big time programs. I mean, let's not forget Garcia spent time at Missouri and Miami. So it's not like he hasn't been at big time programs and knows how this thing works.
And Garcia, the thing with Garcia is he was a highly touted recruit. Look, you have bust, but this guy was one of the top recruits going into what was that, 2022?
And he's probably got a chip on his shoulder. Like he absolutely feels like he has something to prove. As he should.
He does, and he's got an opportunity to do that and put ECU back on the map. And I think that's what he's gonna try to do. Josh, let's play the JDB clip about choosing a starting quarterback.
You know, it's we've been through the last 3 years where we've been going through a quarterback competition and through the spring and fall camp, and this is by far the hardest one that I've been a part of. Just the other two times, you know, it was clear cut who the guy needed to be, and this one, you know, both these guys are very much deserving to be the starter. Jake just, you know, felt like he had a certain level of consistency, not only on the field but off the field, just how he carried himself, the way that he carried himself around his teammates, the confidence that he instills not only in himself but those around him. And that's what it's all about at the position. You got to make the guys around you better, and feel like he did a great job at doing that. So it was hard. It was a hard conversation because, you know, for me personally, you know, I got a personal relationship with both these guys, and I want it for both of them because I want to see them succeed. But at the end of the day, you know, you got to pick a guy and you got to roll with them. And, you know, we felt more than confident in Jake, and, you know, still feel more than confident in Caden that if he could go out there, he could go execute at the same high level.
Artie, I know before you were having trouble hearing that. Were you able to hear it that time?
Nope. I wasn't able to hear it, brother. I honestly, all I care about is the people watching and listening to him.
They can hear it. They can hear it. But
Man.
it was good to hear them or hear him talk about, okay, like, hey, I've had to make this decision several years in a row, but this was still the toughest decision that we've had to make.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he took it lightly. I think this was a tough QB competition, and they didn't want to make the same mistake that Mike Houston and company made last year by not naming a starter. And I think good on them. Good on them for learning. And maybe this is turning the page on some of the, for lack of a better word, there's been some stubbornness at times in this regime to adapt, and good on them for adapting in this situation, to saying, hey, like, we're gonna name a starter. And honestly, the talent level, Jake Garcia probably is right there a little bit ahead of Caden Hauser. So I'm excited about Jake Garcia. I feel for Caden, but I'm excited to see Jake Garcia. New year, new Garcia.
I mean, it was going to happen to one of these guys regardless, right? Only one can be the starter. So, like, one was going to be disappointed. The only thing you can really hope for is that the quarterback battle was as good as advertised, was as good as they say it is, because when you know you've got a guy behind you that is really creeping on you, that's really on your heels, that only enhances your level of play. That only heightens, okay, I got to be first in, last out. I got to be really about my reps, because this guy behind me is hungry. And if I slip up even a little bit, that might be my ass. So, like, you can only hope it was as good as a quarterback competition that they say.
And I don't want to play the clip, Josh, but another question we talked about with Jake was what, and I always kind of go to these questions because I think it tells you a lot about the athlete and a lot about the player. And of course, they're going to give you a media answer, right? But asking Jake Garcia, what's that?
Well, I said, and they've been conditioned for that.
Yeah, and I don't expect anything else, but it does give you a peek inside the mind of some of these athletes and teammates, right? I asked Jake, I said, what conversation did you have after you were told you're going to be a starter? What conversation did you have with Caden Hauser? And he talked about, hey, that was my first call. Was as soon as I got out of the meeting, that was my first call. Was I want to talk to Caden. Look, hey, I need you. We need to be a team. Like, it could have been you giving me this call. Like, all of that. It was good to hear that. Now that could be blowing smoke, but it was good to hear that and straight from him, because it is something that is tough, right? And it's good. Hey, that's a leader. I'm gonna go pick up my brother when he's down. Like, I know he's disappointed, but I need him. Iron sharpens iron. So that was good. We also asked him about how this new offense was, and he provided. Josh, if you want to roll the clip from.
Fans should be excited about this one. Fans need to be excited about this one. I mean, you just go back and you look at the stuff where Ole Miss or North Texas, when JDB was over there, the proof is in the pudding, right? The proof is there. So they should be excited about this one and excited to be seeing an explosive offense out there.
Man, I'm so excited about this offense. It was a constant theme from every offensive athlete that we talked about, and even some of the defensive athletes that we talked about or talked to. Really exciting to hear what they're seeing in the offense. It sounds like there's still some cohesiveness that needs to come together, and I think that will firm up a little bit going into week one, when you're starting to really like game plan for your first opponent, right? You're as of Saturday, as of the last scrimmage, hey, now we're on Norfolk State. game planning for them, and you're getting into the rhythm. I think that will build some of that cohesiveness that you have to have when you bring in so many guys. Right. So it's exciting. And it seems like the leaders are really stepping up. Josh, we talked to two of the running backs, Rajay Harris and Javius Bond, and Javius is coming back from an injury. His likelihood to play week 1 still up in the air. I think he'll get limited touches, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him. You want to play the clip from Javius talking about coming back from his injury?
I mean, like you said, hungry. I feel like I had a lot more to show last year. Unfortunately, I got hurt, but kind of part of the game. So I'm just ready to show everything I can do this year. New offense, new team, excited.
And we asked afterwards the veteran leadership in that running back room with Rajay, and I mean, now that he's been in the program for so long, how did he take Javius Bond under his wing? And he talked about the messaging in the locker room after last year and how they're kind of controlling the narrative and
Jared, hold on. 1%. With you. Did you ask me a question?
No.
Okay. I lost you for a second.
I did too. I was scared.
I lost Jared for a second. I was like, hold on, we're gonna have to make it do what it do. Yeah, you cut out, brother.
Oh well. Play the messaging
1%
from Raj.
That's what I tweet out every day, man, and it's a true statement, man. If you just watch guys like Keaton Mitchell, Holton Ahlers, Jaquan McMillan, man, Julius Wood, they follow that process. It's not going to happen overnight, but you take the steps every day, man, to just achieve your goal. And if you believe in it, man, you can achieve it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a type of guy, man, I believe in myself. I look myself in the mirror every day, man. I tell myself I can go get it. So that's what I believe, and that's what I'm trying to get everybody else to believe.
This man can make me run through a wall. If the football thing doesn't work out, which I think it will for Raj, after his career, he has a career in motivational speaking somewhere down the line.
He's going to be successful. He's a smart guy.
That guy just gets me fired up.
It only takes a few seconds to look at Raj and start talking with him. It's like, okay, yeah, this is a smart guy. He's going to be successful in whatever he wants to do.
He doesn't meet a person that he's not willing to give all of his time and energy to in that moment.
Yeah.
You talk to him, he locks in, and I absolutely love it. I've been a fan of Raj since day one. So yeah, that's great to hear from him. But also talking to him, we asked him about expectations going into the new season and how the expectations of this fan base, like how they're trying each and every day to meet those expectations. Josh,
you gotta be a better version of yourself. You can't worry about what other people want you to do and stuff like that, because you're not gonna make yourself happy. You gotta make yourself happy within her. You feel what I'm saying? Like mentally. You feel what I'm saying? So as long as you're doing stuff to be better for yourself, you can't worry about what everybody else got for you. You feel what I'm saying? God got a plan, and you just gotta follow the path.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's exciting, Artie. There's a lot to be excited about in this offense. Not only do you have a bunch of great dudes, which I think will build that cohesiveness that Mike Houston talked about in his presser. He said, like, that's the one thing that we really need to work on over the next 2 weeks is coming together as a unit and being on the same page, which is to be expected when you bring in a new quarterback and you've got a new tight end and 2 new tight ends and 2 new wide receivers, right? 3 new wide receivers, a couple new offensive linemen. That's going to happen. You've basically rebuilt the offense in a single offseason. Not to mention you brought in a new offensive mind to be the coordinator. It's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So I think it works out perfectly. Hey, you've got a week 1 game against an FCS opponent where, hey, we're going to go out there. Our skill's going to hopefully come through for us, but we're going to be getting settled in so that way we can go on through the rest of the season.
Couldn't agree more. And I'm speaking of the running backs, like I feel like they're all hungry, and I feel like they know the disappointment of last year, and they know the expectation that's going into this season. And I really feel like Rod is going to have a really big year. I really do. I think he's going to have a bounce back. He's going to have a big year. It's
No
if
brace.
the supporting cast can also chip in with the running game, have a 1-2 punch, hopefully. But we can't be much worse than we were overall last year. That's the thing I'm most excited about. We cannot be we literally can't be much worse than what we were last year. So we're going to be better just by default.
And Mike Houston even alluded to that. Like, hey, look, we were 2-10 last year. We could have easily been 6-6 with how many 1-score games that we were in. Now, granted, we've been saying that for so long. Hey, you got to learn how to win those 1-score games. But I think now you've got the mind there to win those tight games, but also you've got a little more skill in those skill positions to come through, right? Like the wide receiver unit wasn't the problem. Running back room wasn't the problem. Javius Bond did get hurt last year, but those skill positions weren't the problem. The main problem was the guy calling the plays up in the press box and the guy on the field making the decisions.
Yeah.
And those are 2 spots you cannot have problems with. And ECU had problems, big problems, at both spots. I mean, the fact that Chase Soul did what he did last year with the offense that he was on, that is what amazes me the most about him. So, yeah, it's exciting, Artie. And everybody that I talked to was saying, hey, every 10, 15 seconds, we're hiking the ball. We're running another play. So it's not going to be this, okay, let's get to the line, audible out, audible into a run up the middle on 3rd and 9. We're not doing that anymore. We're gunslinging, and you're going to have to keep up. So heaven help whoever is scoring the games for ECU up there in the press box with us. It's going to be quick, and you're not going to be able to catch your breath. Do not get out of your seat. This is going to be edge of your seat material on the field, at least from what I can tell. How do you feel about that, Artie?
Let it fly, baby. Let it fly. I'm not going to call it the air raid. I don't know if we're ever going to be that again, but let it fly.
Josh, you were there. What was your takeaway from talking to the offensive guys on Monday?
I think the consistent theme for the offensive guys was just that this season they have a feeling that like they're not going to talk about how good they're going to be. They're just going to do it. It's like that's how they're going around this offseason. I remember because I'll compare to last media day where you had so many players talking about we're going to be so good, we're going to be so good, we're going to be so good. And I think that's what really upset a lot of people about last season. But this year they aren't even saying that it's good or bad. They're just like it's gonna be what it is.
They're telling you
that mentality. God, I love that mentality.
They're giving you the plot.
Go up and watch. That's all I can tell you.
This show's gotta let the story play out. Like they're telling you the plot line of the story is we're gonna run it down your throat and throw it over your head, and it's up to you to stop it. And it excites me. I don't want to see. We don't need to see any more of the tunnel screens and run up the middle.
Yeah.
Or 3-yard in routes. So, did y'all lose me again?
No, I got you.
No, we with you. We with you.
Okay.
We was just letting you know.
Y'all were both looking at me. I was waiting for y'all to respond. This is a talking podcast. Jesus.
We were
Hey,
giving
look,
you the
sometimes I
riff.
don't know where Jared gonna go, where he gonna stop. I'll just let you go, brother. I'll just let you go.
But since we talked about the offense, let's transition into some of the defense. And we didn't sit down with Blake Harrell. I actually wrote up the elevator with Blake, Coach Harrell.
Good old Blake.
Ask me how
I still need that T-shirt. I need that Blake for President T-shirt. Don't get me wrong. I need Blake Harrell for President. I need that.
I'm here for it.
I'm gonna have to create it.
It's not Houston Harrell Houston.
Harold Houston. Yes, and we love Mike. Don't get it twisted. But nah, this is Harold Houston.
We are Blake Harrell stands here at the Boneyard podcast.
Facts.
Blake Harrell is the original, the OG friend of the podcast.
Oh my goodness, man! When did we interview Blake Harrell?
It was like in our
forever ago.
It was like one of our first 10 episodes.
Yeah, no, Blake's an OG. Blake's an OG.
Speaking of an OG, I just looked at my phone. My recommended image that just popped up was an image of me and my boy Warren Saba, who just took a coaching gig. So shout out to Warren Saba, another defensive guy, but
good guy, all around good guy.
Just a great guy. We love the good guys. The good guys are there's something else. All right, let's talk about Isaiah Brown Murray. I mean, this secondary is we know that the meat is on the D line, and we'll talk to Elijah Morris here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But Isaiah Brown Murray talking about ECU's defense under Blake Harrell, talking about, hey, we're going to stop the run and defend the pass. That's what we've been doing, and we've done it well, and we're going to keep doing that. It was good to hear because there's some cohesiveness and there's some consistency in on that side of the ball, right? The consistency that's missing on the offensive side of the ball is made up for on the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
And it's, hey, this guy is no longer on the team. All right, let's fill him in with another dude, right? And IBM is one of those guys. Josh, play the clip about him talking about his feelings going into 2024.
I'm grateful for the opportunity every day, but this season I really feel like the difference is than this season, last season, that everybody's bought in, everybody wants it. Like our only goal is to win the conference championship. We want to win the American Conference Championship. So if we don't do that, it's failure. It's either do that or fail. So I feel like that's what we're gonna do too. Because with our new offense and how our defense coming together, I feel like we're gonna put on the show. Y'all gonna see August 31st.
Another guy that just could get me fired up. We're gonna put on a show. Y'all gonna see August 31st. Gosh. Artie, we're less than 10 days away.
We're so close. We're so close. It literally feels like 2 weeks ago we had a podcast. Like, oh man, we're 100 days away. We're getting close to college football. No, we're right here. We right here.
Artie, next Saturday, I'm gonna pick you up. And I'm going to drive our two little happy asses down to Greenville, North Carolina, and we're going to go watch East Carolina football put on a show. Damn right.
Cannot wait.
God, it's so close. It's so close.
Hey, look, don't think I forgot about that little conversation y'all was having in the chat though earlier today. When y'all was talking about a possible playoff scenario, that was absurd. I had to put that little plug in there. That was absolutely absurd. I know there's a scenario, but like from 2-10 to playoff.
All right, Artie, where have you been? That conversation was Monday.
Well, Monday, whatever. Yeah, not today, but sometime this week.
The conversation today was Josh, maybe you go ahead and add it in. The conversation today was about Parker Moore's Sup Dogs order.
Okay, yeah, I did see that when I was driving home. I saw the conversation.
That
no, that's absurd. That's an absurd Sup Dogs order.
That's an offensive lineman Sup Dogs order.
Me 10 years ago would have been like, okay, let me try that. Me now, that makes my stomach hurt.
Josh, give me a thumbs up when you got it loaded up, because
that makes my stomach hurt.
Just roll it, because the sheer amount of food that this man eats in one sitting at Sup Dogs.
2 hot dogs, onion rings, a burger, funnel cake. God almighty.
Joey Chestnut out here. Just absolutely wild. And I had to remind him, like, hey, like, you're sitting next to your coach.
Dog with
Here, let's roll the clip,
so
Josh.
I gotta add cheese to it. It's a chili dog, so I get double that with onion rings, and then I get a I forgot what the burger is called, but I take off the bacon and just keep everything on the burger and add the sauce and all that. So I get the double the dog, the onion rings, and the burger. So that's it. And I might also add the funnel cake to it. The funnel cake's pretty good. Yeah, I might add that every now and then. So yeah.
Does Sup Dogs really have a funnel cake? Like they serve?
Do.
When the hell does Sup Dogs get funnel cake?
Same time they got a watermelon Sup Crush.
I knew about the watermelon Sup Crush. I didn't know about funnel cake. Jesus.
Sup Dogs has everything. And Artie, let me say this. I went to Sup Dogs after media day, as one does when in Rome.
When in Rome.
No, I met my cousin for lunch at Sup Dogs, and she put me onto something. This is Brayton. She put me onto something.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always said my order is the cheesy bacon delight, double the dog, bacon cheese fries, right?
Right.
The cheesy bacon delight, cheese, bacon, ranch, Sup sauce on a hot dog. She said, order it, but order it with the buffalo sauce on it too. I put some buffalo sauce on that mug.
If you've never had Sup Dogs buffalo sauce, so it's goated. That is a goat sauce.
Artie, could you tell me what goes into buffalo sauce?
Just regular buffalo sauce?
Yeah, what 2 ingredients?
I mean, really any. I mean, I know what goes into my buffalo sauce. I put a little Texas Pete, put a little soy sauce, put a little margarine or butter, and then I put a little seasoning in it. That goes into my buffalo, but I don't know what goes into other people's buffalo.
I didn't realize that buffalo sauce, for the most part, is mostly just ranch and hot sauce mixed together.
It depends on the buffalo sauce, though. But Sup Dogs buffalo sauce is not.
I don't know what's in it, but it was good.
It's not.
It was.
And hot sauce.
You're putting some other seasoning in there, but like
it's goated. That is a goat. So that is literally Sup Dog sauce. They have 2 goated sauces. Like it's.
I'll say, I'll eat Sup sauce, but I'm not drinking it like I would that buffalo sauce.
No. You don't have to drink it. If you said you didn't like it, then I wouldn't trust your taste.
I like it. I like it.
Respect your taste.
I like it, but if I had to choose between ranch and Sup sauce, like what am I dipping my bacon cheese fries into? I'm choosing ranch.
I don't mind. Restaurant ranch is also goated. I just call it restaurant ranch because it's just great, really, at any restaurant you go to.
Shout out. Some of the best ranch that I've ever had was at Professor O'Cool's.
Oh, R.I.P. O'Cool's.
R.I.P. All right. While talking about the defense, though, I do want to also play that clip from Elijah Morris, talking about how they look back on last season, and then we'll move on.
It really makes you. It's a drive, you know. That's the focus. That 2-10. We still see it, and we can't change it until that first game comes. And we take it day by day.
Just another guy that I think the mentality in this locker room and the messaging has been the same thing all year long. 2-10 sucks. And we sucked last year. And we know we're better than that, but we got to go out and prove that we're better than that.
I would have it posted everywhere.
Yeah, everything.
Like I would literally I would beat it. I would beat it like no other. I would just have 2-10 over the locker room, and anywhere that my players can see 2-10, I'd have 2-10 everywhere. You did. That's what you did. Like that's what we did last year. 2-10 everywhere. That's what we did as a unit. I would have it everywhere.
Cafeteria,
everywhere.
Weight room.
I'd start all of my meetings with 2-10.
Shower. Yeah, put it up on the.
Just keep going.
That's bullet. You want bulletin board material? No better bulletin board material than your own.
Because I want everyone in that locker room to know we lost double digits. We had double-digit losses last year. It's supposed to be the reverse of that.
We were some cheeks last year.
So,
but all in all, media day was good. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I went. I always love catching up with some of the guys. It's always a great opportunity. So shout out to Malcolm and crew for putting on a great event. And then all right, let's move along. Unless Josh, did you have anything else you wanted to add on media day and he said no, we're running long on time, so we're gonna move along. All right. Let's quickly run through this D-line, O-line preview.
Boys.
The big nasties. Let's start off on defense. I mean, this is by all accounts, like I've said, like, okay, the running back room stacked, wide receiver room seems to be stacked. If you want like a proven group and like top end talent on this team, like if you were to say, gun to my head, pick the best position group at ECU, 11 times out of 10, twice on Sunday, whatever line you want me to use, I'm saying defensive line. I mean, you got guys like Chad Stevens, Sam Donka, Elijah Morris that we were just talking to, Sarad Ware, right? Like JD Lampley, Sam. I think I already said Sam Donka, but I'll say him again. Deontay Johnson. Like these are all guys that they're studs.
Dogs. And they're just a cohesive unit. They just know how to play well together. Just a unit. I mean, Chad Stevens, that's the one that jumps off the board. It's just like, man, you look at his numbers, like, my God, what a monster Chad is. But this entire unit, like you said, this is the one you take home. This is the one you take home to mama. Like,
I named all those guys already. I still didn't mention CJ Mims, who played in all 12 games last year. Oh, and by the way, you've got a guy, Jaden McKenzie, who transferred in from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like, this room is absolutely packed. And I mean, Chad Stevens, I mean, definitely one of the most decorated linemen on the team. Made 111 tackles in 43 games, 61 of which are solo tackles. Combined negative 133 yards on 25 and a half tackles for loss and 7 sacks. Credited with 2 6-tackle games in 2020 against Navy, 2021 against Houston, and 2 8-tackle games, 2022 against USF and 2023 against Charlotte.
He's a dog. He's a dog.
This guy is going to eat. And this is a guy I could see playing on Sunday.
The only thing that I would like to see more from this unit, the only thing, because they played great, is the tackles for loss were there. Just want some more sacks.
Yep.
I just want to be able to get to the quarterback, and I want to put his ass on the ground. I want some more sacks. That's really the only improvement I want from this unit is more sacks. Everything else, maintain or do a little bit better, I'm good with. But the only thing I want to see improvement is if we can get some more sacks, if we can really get to the quarterback, because you don't know how far that goes in the psyche of the quarterback on the opposing team when you're just like, damn, like these guys can't give me a break. They're tackling my running back behind the field. They're tackling me. They getting pressures. They get like I can't. They batting balls down. Like that psyche, to what it does to an offense on the opposing side, is second to none. So that's the only caveat I would have for this unit.
Yeah, and if there's a guy that you're looking to kind of step up this year, and I mean, all these guys are going to be dudes. They're all going to be in and out in the rotation. But look for Kieran Davis, the sophomore, and then also DeMaurice Jenkins, another sophomore, to really kind of come out and solidify themselves as part of this ECU D line. Mm-hmm. You're going to have your constants, the guys we've already mentioned. And can I just say, like, yeah, Deontay Johnson is a senior. It feels like Deontay Johnson has been at ECU for damn near 15 years.
Deontay was there when we were there.
Like, it feels like Deontay Johnson has been there since Ruffin McNeil's been there. I know that's not the case, but it feels that way. Yeah, more sacks. That would be nice. Getting more sacks. It's been an area that, like, that's one stat that I think that ECU's defense has wanted to improve, but mm-hmm. I think part of it is I think part of it has been they've had to try to stack that O line, bring in more tight ends to defend against ECU's D line, and you can't rush on ECU. You can't run the ball on ECU, or at least not very well. So you're having to play a lot of quick plays, a lot of play action. So they're not getting there, right? We have seen at times like ECU has struggled to get there. Even when a pocket breaks down, that they haven't been able to get the hit on the quarterback. But now you've got a lot of juniors, seniors, and one grad student on this team, on this line. I think you're gonna see a lot more sacks this year compared to previous years.
Yeah, I would agree. I would concur.
All right, moving along. Let's talk about the offensive line. We just talked to Parker Moore, longtime friend of the podcast. We had him on when he decided to transfer in from West Virginia. I mean, he's a leader for this offensive line, right? And then we've got Darius Bell, transfer from Maine. He's competing for a starting job. I mean, 16 starts in 18 games at Maine. Probably one of the top FCS offensive linemen coming up. Typically, when you see a player at Media Day, I mean, they're going to play a role that season. We saw Kojo Poku in 9 games last season in a reserve role, but I mean, now he's looking to really compete. He was there at Media Day. Another guy that's a grad transfer, Dustin Hall, started in all 12 games last season and started 25 games at USF. I mean, he played a mix of center and right guard last year. I'm thinking he's probably going to be at that right guard position again. I think Ergel is going to be your starting center this year. Some news: a new transfer just got added to the roster. Like, I feel like was it on Media Day, Josh, that this was announced? Panda Askew, where do you go? DH Conley transferred in from Charlotte.
If he went to Conley, he should have never went to Charlotte anyway. He should have always been in Greenville.
Was he recruited by ECU? I don't know.
I don't remember him being recruited by ECU heavily at least. He might have gotten a couple, words, but I don't think it was.
I don't think he was. He wasn't getting the looks that some other guys were getting.
Right.
They were content with letting him go to Charlotte, but now he's transferring in from Charlotte to 2 seasons of eligibility left after not playing really any role in their new system last year. He's played in 26 games, 16 starts, and then, like I said, he had that reduction in time last year. Really, just looking at it, I think I think Hampton Ergel, like I said, he started in all 12 games. I think he's going to probably be your center going into this year.
I agree with that. Yep.
And then, yeah, I mean, other than that, you've got Carson Jones, the transfer from Houston, 3 years of eligibility. He's a guy, sophomore, that I'm looking to kind of be like the new face of this offensive line. The guy, he just looks like an offensive lineman. When you look at him, like, yeah, they're all big and there's a reason they call them big uglies. But this guy looks like he's got the size of an offensive lineman, and he just looks like corn-fed, like back home bred like guy. So I'm excited to see him transfer in from Houston.
Yeah, what I would add to that is I think outside of the quarterback position, this is the unit that has the most to prove. This year.
Now I'm another guy that I thought that had been here longer and honestly thought was gone was Jacob Sacra. He slotted in at times at center, if I'm not mistaken, last year. It could be a little bit of a rotation between him and Ergel. Am I making that up, Josh? Did he not play center a little bit last year?
I think he played both center and guard last year.
So, yeah, I agree. This is the position unit that needs them. I mean, outside of quarterback, this is the position group that needs the most improvement.
I think it all starts with Parker Moore. Obviously, because he's the leader. I think he's the guy that in this unit can kind of galvanize the troops. But I'm excited just because I think this unit is obviously going to be better. Like we mentioned, it can't be any much worse. But this the one that they got to come out and really prove it.
Can I just say, Josh, kudos to you on the notes here. I just was seeing the Kenny Walls note, not related to Tim Walls.
Relation to Tim.
I don't know. I hadn't seen that yet, but that made me crack up. Good job on that.
Josh, the little ones in.
All right. Let's talk week 4 through 2, and we're going to talk very briefly on these. ECU at Liberty. It's crazy to say that ECU versus Liberty is like quite possibly the premier game on the schedule this year, but it is, right? I mean, of course, App State's going to have App State ECU is going to be what it is, right? Like that's turning into a rivalry. I don't like App State. They don't like us.
Stop that turning into a rivalry bullshit, Jared. It is a rivalry. It's not turning into a rivalry. It is a rivalry.
But it's turning into, I'll say this, like it's not.
It's the two biggest non-power four now schools in the state. It's a rivalry.
And I'll say this, though, like to that point, App State, I don't have the problem with App State that I have with Charlotte. I respect App State enough to like call them a rival. I don't respect Charlotte enough to.
That's because App State can kick our ass at this point. At any point in time. That's why we don't have the numbers over App State like that. They can kick our ass.
Look, you got to recognize that the Charlotte Sports Foundation decided to technically buy the game from App State in the renewal of the series that first year to play in Bank of America Stadium. And then coupled that with Georgia Clemson, right? Like that, like I mean, that was Duke's Mayo kickoff, but we were the first, we were a Friday game sold out. Like that is a rivalry. That to me,
and I was at that game, and that bottom bowl was packed. All right,
that was a good game.
That was a good bowl in Bank of America. There was a lot of people there, a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see App come into Dowdy. I am. It's gonna be a fun environment. 4:00 kick. You can't get better than a 4:00 kick. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, yeah, 4:00. That is the. I mean, everybody's gonna be nice and lubricated. We're gonna be talking shit. Fights, plenty of fights would have already happened. by kickoff. So I mean, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be absolutely great. I love it.
And then, taking a step back, going back to ECU at Liberty, 6 o'clock, September 21st. Artie, I think you and I are both going to be there.
Yes, absolutely trying to get to that game. Should
we're
be
planning
able
on
to
it.
get to that game. I don't think there's going to be any.
I'm going to be there. It's an hour away from us. We're going.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
And if you haven't been to Lynchburg, Lynchburg's beautiful. Like
right up there on the cusp of the mountains. So yeah,
it's they're a little bit weird up there, but hey, they might.
We're mountain folk. I can do a mountain folk.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about though. But no, I mean, they're gonna be good. They thought they were losing their quarterback, Caden Salter. Dude is coming back. Where was he? I think he was at Tennessee originally. Transferred to Liberty, and then I think he entered the transfer portal after last year, but you know that Jerry Falwell money and NIL money up there at Liberty, they were able to keep him. So, and that dude was an absolute baller. But keep in mind, Liberty played the easiest schedule in college football last year, and it showed when they got to. Now, Oregon is a great team, was a great team.
Granted, Oregon was phenomenal.
But it wasn't the same as a Tulane beating Southern Cal.
Right.
With the Heisman Trophy winner the year before.
Right. I'll give you that.
Like, it wasn't that.
If you put that Tulane team against that Liberty team, I think Tulane would have won by double digits.
Yeah. And Liberty's going to be good. They've got former ECU linebacker Taylor Jackson on their team. Really did not enjoy that he went there. Got a new coach. Lynchburg's going to be fun. If you go downtown Lynchburg, there's a lot of great food and a lot of good bars. Now, around the campus, there's none of that. But if you go downtown, like near the river, lots of fun. We already kind of talked about ECU App State. That's going to be, like I said, 4 o'clock kick.
It's Greenville, baby. Come on now.
Like, if
that atmosphere is going to be insane.
I mean, mid-September, 4 o'clock. Like,
that's
you get out to the tailgate lots at 10 o'clock. You get out to the tailgate 9, 10 o'clock. You're well lubed up going into Dowdy Ficklin Stadium, and by the time the game ends, guess what? You got the beautiful sunset just in time for ECU to paint it purple.
If you had to pick one home game to go to, like it's that home game. It's the at ECU home game. That is the home game you got to be at. That atmosphere is going to be absolutely insane.
And then prior to that, already week 2, ECU at Old Dominion up in Norfolk. ECU's trying to extend the winning streak, currently 4-0 all time against the Monarchs. Do not be fooled. Do not be looking ahead to App State and Liberty.
They're going to be all right. Yeah, they're going to be all right.
Old Dominion's going to be a quality football team this year.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they're going to challenge for the Sun Belt.
But they could go bowling.
They're not in the same predicament as ECU right now, but they're probably sitting in kind of the same spot in the Sun Belt as ECU sitting in the American. Not that top tier program, but they're not the bottom tier. But they're building something to become one of those top tier programs.
Basically, you can't take a day off of Old Dominion.
No,
you can't. You can't take a day off of Old Dominion because they'll beat you.
So that's week 2, and then next week we'll talk about week 1. We'll talk about week 1, ECU at Norfolk State, or Norfolk State at ECU. Excuse me. Geez, it's 11 o'clock at night, so my coffee from earlier is wearing off.
Go on.
All right, Gambling Corner is back, Artie.
The first Gambling Corner of the season, baby. Oh, I'm excited.
All right, here's what we're doing. We're gonna Josh, we're gonna take these picks and you can come in, Josh, because I want you to be a part of this. We're gonna take these picks, and every week we're gonna track how we're doing. Okay. Josh and I we can build out a spreadsheet to keep track and track our units on how we're doing. So that way you have stats to back up whether you're fading us or whether you're trailing us. So stay tuned. If we're going to be completely honest, if our picks are shit, we're going to tell you, do not follow me. Then of course we're going to hit big that weekend. Now, I'm planning to at least put money on 2 of these games or 2 of our picks each and every week. I'm willing to make that commitment. So if you ride with me, we ride together. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Please bet responsibly. We don't have a gambling sponsor yet, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
Just throw a little disclaimer right there.
If you are following the Boneyard podcast, you can't come back to the Boneyard podcast and be like, y'all cost me money, because we are not.
Surely did not. You made that decision on your own.
All right, let's get into it.
All right. Game number 1 of the day, the noon game. We've got number 10 Florida State versus Georgia Tech in Dublin, Ireland. The spread is Florida State favored 10.5. The over-under is 55.5. Jared, what are you taking?
I think Florida State is going to be one of the best teams in college football this year. I worry about the travel, but I also, we've seen plenty of these games where they go to Ireland and it turns into a blowout. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to take Florida State, and I'm going to take the points. I think they cover. Over under, I think Florida State's offense can help them get there.
All right, Artie.
I agree with the cover that Florida State covers. I will take the over, because I think Georgia Tech's a lot better than people assume them to be. Right? Like, Georgia Tech was a team that came on strong a little bit last year. They only lost to Georgia by 8 points last year. Like, if you wasn't paying attention to that. So, like, Georgia Tech's not going to be a scrub. This is not going to be a blowout. I really don't think it's going to be a blowout. I do think Florida State wins. I don't agree that they're one of the best teams in college football, but I still think they can get to an ACC championship game, perhaps. Give me Florida State, but it'll be a close one.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to let you know that I'm going Georgia Tech.
Yeah! I don't mind it.
And you got to think about this, okay? Georgia Tech ended up going 5-3 in ACC play last year.
Yes.
I mean,
not a scrub.
What if a player, I think in my mind, Florida State is a good team, but game number 1, I don't think they're coming in the same way that Georgia Tech's coming in game number 1. I think that there's going to be a Georgia Tech surprise win over a top 10 team to start the season. I think that obviously the cover, and then I'm going to take the under, actually, under 55.5. I think it's going to be tight, but I think that it might be just a little too sloppy on offense from Florida State to really hit that over.
Yeah. I don't mind that pick, Josh. I really do not mind that pick at all, to be honest with you. I like the guts to pull Georgia Tech. I just think Florida State's got a little too much, but I do think people are sleeping on Georgia Tech a little bit.
I'll say this. Early season college football may be some of the hardest to bet on. Like, this is the time of year where teams come out, they've got all this preseason hype, and they come out and they're just not as good as you expect them to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it plays out. I think, Florida State's going to be the representative in my opinion for the ACC and the college football playoff.
They're not mine, but I don't mind it.
They're not even going to the championship. That's that simple to me.
Who do you got? Miami, NC State?
No. I'm actually riding Georgia Tech this whole season.
Jesus
I'm actually riding Georgia Tech. I'm not saying
Riding
undefeated. I'm not saying undefeated. I'm not saying undefeated. Okay, no, let's not go there.
Georgia
But
Tech.
I think,
You know what
I
though?
think Georgia Tech, Louisville.
I was just about to say Georgia Tech could be last year's Louisville. Like they could just come out of nowhere and just be like, "Oh, Georgia Tech got 10, 11 wins. Where the hell did this come from?" Yeah,
I
they
think
could be
Georgia
last
Tech,
year's Louisville.
Louisville.
I haven't even looked at their schedule. Is that even doable?
I actually, and maybe this is just me being dumb, but I do believe in Mario Cristobal and his Miami Hurricanes this year. I think Miami's going to represent the ACC.
Yeah, that's just you being dumb.
I think Miami's going to represent the ACC.
I mean, Georgia Tech.
Look, if we're saying Georgia Tech can win the ACC, I can damn sure say Miami's good enough to win the ACC.
No, yeah, I don't. I'm just messing with you. Eventually, it's one of those things. You say Miami's going to be good enough or be good.
It's got to
enough
happen.
Times eventually, it's going to happen.
The water's got to boil up out the pot at some point.
I'll say like the first 7 weeks of Georgia Tech schedule outside of Georgia Tech Louisville, which ESPN's FPI gives Louisville a 78.4% chance of winning. Their schedule is honestly very favorable.
Now you look at their last five.
Their last five's a gauntlet.
That's going to be the part. That's going to be the part.
Their last five, they could
Georgia
get
Tech's
shredded.
last 5 weeks, and that's what I was like,
Granted,
a little disrespectful.
I mean,
like,
but the thing is, Notre Dame doesn't count as a conference game, though, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so I think in terms of conference record, I mean, I think it'll be fine.
But you still have to play Miami and NC State, two of which that you're expecting to be in contention for.
And both of them typically flop. So
yeah,
that's true.
I mean,
fair enough. Yeah, no,
that's true.
And then
State Miami flopping is a very realistic thing that can happen. I'm just picking them.
Not to mention Georgia Tech at Georgia last week of the season.
Yeah. We'll see where Georgia's at, though. Georgia's got a fucking gauntlet, too, man. Georgia's schedule is brutal. They're the number one team in the country, but it's a brutal schedule for Georgia.
And like I said for them earlier, they're not going to the SEC championship. So, I mean,
by the time they get to Georgia Tech, they'd have already played at least 5 ranked opponents.
I mean, just looking at starting off week 1, Clemson, week 4, Alabama, which Alabama I think is ranked way too high preseason. Alabama being ranked number 5 in the country is absurd. Texas also on their schedule. And then Ole Miss. I mean, they're ranked number 1, and right now on their schedule they have the 4, 5, 6, and 15 and 14 ranked teams on their schedule.
Yeah. Like by the time they get to Georgia Tech, they either are going to be beat up or they're going to be one of the best teams in college football history.
They also have to play quite possibly one of the worst college football teams this year in UMass.
Well, they deserve a UMass with that schedule.
All right, let's move along. Montana State at New Mexico.
Montana State is a 13.5-point road favorite from the FCS. Okay. You got the over-under set at 54.5. Artie, where are you going with this one, man?
I'm giving Montana State some love here. Give me the under. And I think Montana State covers. Give me the under. I think Montana State covers. I don't believe in New Mexico. I just don't. I don't believe in New Mexico. I don't believe in the Lobos. So give me Montana State. Give me the under, and I think they cover.
All right, Jared, what you got?
I don't know. Anytime I see FCS as a 14-point favorite on the road against an FBS, it always just gives me caution. And not know, like, Montana State is a damn good football team and honestly could very well be a Mountain West team. I think Montana State wins. I don't think they cover. But I will also take the under.
All right. I'm going to go with New Mexico covering as well. And gonna take the under just because I don't believe in New Mexico's offense that much. But then that means that I can't believe in Montana State's offense as much either. So I'm gonna go under for that one too. So New Mexico covering and the under.
Okay.
All right, next game we got SMU on the road visiting Nevada. 24.5 point favorite is SMU on the road here.
I feel like that's absurd, but is Nevada really this bad of a program? That's fucking absurd.
Yeah. And the over-under is 55.5. So, I mean, what kind of scores does that produce?
Oh, my goodness.
Jared, how you feeling?
I know SMU's improved over last year, and they were they were a damn good football team last year.
Right.
I'm gonna, as much as it pains me to say, I think I'm gonna take SMU to cover. I'm gonna I think the bottom of the Mountain West can be pretty brutal, and I think that we're gonna see that here. SMU was good. Like I said, SMU was good last year. They improved even more this year, just with their jump up to the ACC. I'm taking SMU to cover, and I feel like if I take them to cover that, like, you have to take the over under.
So you're taking the over?
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Artie, how you feeling about this one?
I'm gonna take the under. SMU's definitely gonna win this game, and I know Nevada's not that great of a program. I just feel like 24.5 is a little absurd. I mean, we're acting like SMU is out here like playing like Georgia. Like 24.5. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot to me. Yeah, they're not gonna cover. I say Nevada covers. Take the under. I could legit see SMU winning by 3 touchdowns, but 24.5 is just absurd to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go SMU to cover, but I'm also taking the over. I think that SMU
actually going to score some points in this game.
Yeah, I think SMU's just going to score points.
This game could vary.
It's going to be like a 70-14 ball game or
Dude,
something.
Yeah, like you got to think Rhett Lashley with Preston Stone. I mean, they've been together for how long now? Like they,
Okay.
it's. I mean,
or finishing the Atlantic Coast Conference this year.
I feel like they're middle of the pack.
Yeah, I think they're middle of the pack in the ACC, but I think going against, I mean, even if they were in the American this year, I'd have the same prospect for them against this Nevada team. I mean, I just don't believe
this is a game that could very well be 49-13. SMU then covers, and you hit your over. So I don't think that's a score that's out of the realm of possibility.
I see what you guys are saying. I just SMU's, they're good, not great program. So that's why I can't take the over with SMU.
All right, and then the last game of the day that has odds out right now. I'll make that caveat. There are 3 other games, but these are the only ones that we have odds for. Is Delaware State at Hawaii. Hawaii is a 39.5 point favorite. Delaware State has made it to the state of Hawaii, and the over-under is 56.5 points. Artie, where you going?
I don't know dog shit about either one of these programs, but I do know that, like, what do you say, 39.5?
30. It's 40 some places, but 39.5 from FanDuel today.
Yeah, no, Hawaii's not that good. They're not covering that. Give me Hawaii. I'm gonna take the over on this. Why not? I'm gonna take the over. Give me Hawaii. They're not covering 39.5. That's not happening.
All right,
They play
Jared.
a high school game. They're not covering 39.
And did you say the over or the under?
I'm taking over.
Over. I got you. All right, Jared. What say you?
Yeah, I don't know about the 39.5 on Hawaii. I do think that they win outright, but I'll be honest, I don't know enough about either of these offenses to know, like, hey, this could be a high score game. What I will say though is shit gets weird after midnight. Mom always said
that is true.
There's nothing good happens after midnight.
Freaks come out at night,
except for in college football. So I'm taking the over here. I think we're just gonna have an absolute wild game, and like I said, weird things always happen when Hawaii plays football.
Yeah, I'm gonna go same picks of Hawaii outright, Delaware State to cover that 39.5 points. But I'm actually going under. I just think that both teams are just gonna look sloppy.
That's fair.
Yeah. See, I think they'll both look sloppy, but I think it may just be more slop on defense.
Right. a lot of points to score in the sloppy game.
Yeah. It's one of those just like, all right, let's have weird plays happen. Nobody can tackle. Somebody, you got a wide receiver that goes down after getting touched because he's got sunburn or something like that from being out on the beach in Hawaii. Like, I don't know. It's too damn late. All right. And then Josh, we can figure out how to track this.
Yeah.
I trust you. You're probably better at that than me. But if you need help, let me know. All right. Walk the plank. Y'all got to walk the plank. I have one.
Oh, God. Has anything even happened
this
week?
There's been a big story going on in the world of football this week.
Jared, you go first since you have one, and then we'll.
Yeah. Did y'all hear about this flag football quarterback talking shit?
Oh, talking shit to Patrick Mahomes?
Talking shit to Patrick Mahomes.
I vaguely saw
and I mean,
I didn't really like read any news story. I just like saw
the guy's upset because NFL quarterbacks, NFL athletes are saying, "Hey, like, we think, like, yeah, I'm thinking about going to the Olympics. Like, flag football will be in the Olympics in LA in 2028." Well, this guy, let me make sure I get his name right. He's the starting quarterback for Team USA. His name is Daryl Hoosh Doucette. Hoosh is his nickname. He said he's better than Mahomes at flag football, which I'll give him credit. Like, okay, yes, you may be better at him than him, like, at flag football, and that's right now. Just saying that there's, like, you have to kind of like wiggle your hips a little bit more when you run rather than just trying to run and not get, killed. So that's part of it. Dude, you're 35 years old and you're 5'8", like 180 pounds. You are not better than any NFL star. You're not better than anybody. You couldn't even make the practice team on an NFL team.
There's probably practice squad guys that better, like, being honest.
But here's the thing he said. He said, they asked him what makes you stand out over Mahomes, and he said, my football IQ. Like, come on, man.
Have him draw something up. I mean, I don't know.
Let him rephrase a playbook real quick. Just write a whole playbook down really quick.
I don't know.
Just tell me 15 plays off the top of the dome, just verbatim, like that.
I mean, he could be, though. I mean, he could be.
And then not only tell me those plays, go out there and actually execute them to a T.
4 years ago, this guy was a ramp agent for Delta Airlines. Then he quit his job to become a flag football coach. I don't know. To me, it's asinine to think that. Yeah, you be the quarterback, but like it's like 3-on-3 basketball. Like we don't send over the legit stars for three. We sent over Jimmer Fredette.
Did y'all watch 3-on-3 basketball?
No,
but actually, Jared, thank you. Walk the plank on that though. Actually, we have a 3-on-3 league in the United States of America, and the players from that league were not allowed to participate in the Olympic trial process to represent the United States or their fellow countries because of some FIBA rule that the 3-on-3 league that's internationally televised in the United States, well, all over the world, like, but they don't qualify for the Olympics. Like, come on now, get out of here. And then FIBA telling the, I guess, was it Sweden that won the gold medal, that they couldn't play the 3-on-3 all-stars from the US league. Like, it's just walk the plank, Olympic Committee and FIBA and whoever else is involved in all that.
So that was political.
I honestly had no idea that was happening.
I didn't know that either.
Yes.
Put me on game with that. I didn't know that. I just thought 3-on-3 basketball was just some sideshow that they just put together real quick.
No.
For the Olympics, to be honest with you. Just to add a new sport.
Artie, do you have a walk the plank?
I do not have a walk the plank.
All right. Before we go, I meant to ask this last week. So, as I said earlier, U.S. is hosting the Olympics. They're in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
When you host, you can choose sports to be played. That's what I mean. The U.S. is choosing baseball, softball, flag football, and then I can't remember the other one that's going to be added. They're getting rid of breakdancing. Shout out Ray Gunn.
That poor woman, she had to be the scapegoat for what I mean, but it should have never been a thing.
Have you heard, have you read into her a little bit?
Yes.
I don't know. I think someone's fishy there.
Yeah.
Ray Gunn and her husband could probably walk the plank.
I don't know. That whole thing was weird. It should have never been a thing.
It seems like they've embezzled money out of Australia to get a free trip to Paris to go to the Olympics. That's what it seems like. Because she and her husband basically set up the crew to vote on who goes for breakdancing. She's also studies movement in American culture or something like that, and is a doctor. And I don't know. There's someone up there. There's someone up there. But real quick, what sport would you add to the Olympics?
They've got enough. I wouldn't add any more sports.
Yeah, but
the whole baseball thing, I get baseball because it's somewhat a global game, right? There's enough globally to compete in baseball. The whole flag football thing, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not interested in the flag football thing. Who are we competing against?
Honestly, Team USA has lost.
Against?
Team USA has been on a pretty bad streak lately, losing to Japan and different countries.
The whole flag football thing, I'm not really interested in that, to be honest with you.
So adding a sport, I would probably add lacrosse, but I would do it in a way where all of the indigenous tribes who originated the lacrosse sport were able to form teams as nations and represent themselves and their sport at the Olympics. Because I think lacrosse is growing at a good enough rate at this point in the United States that this would just be that spark to kind of kick them off a little bit more. So
I was about to say, because I don't think that's a global sport right now. I think that's a very much domestic sport.
Yeah, it's a Canadian, Northeast American sport, but I think it'd be great exposure. I think a lot of countries could pick up on it very easily, especially if people are already playing cricket or or hockey or field hockey. I mean, I think the skills are very transferable. So
I'll never talk shit about lacrosse because I actually tried to play lacrosse a little bit back in the day, and it's a very hard sport to pick up. So I'm not going to talk shit about the game.
We didn't have lacrosse growing up, but it is fun to like toss the ball around and catch it with the lacrosse stick. But I'll say I have two. Cornhole.
Get that.
Shut the fuck up.
Cornhole.
And
dude, cornhole and bowling, that'd be great, actually.
That I thought about
bowling. I respect
cornhole. No, what do you mean?
Cornhole.
It doesn't get more American than that, Artie.
What did you just say? What did you just say? It doesn't get more American than that. We're talking about a global sport that can be dominated by any one country at any one time.
No, when you host the Olympics, when you host the Olympics, when you host the Olympics,
you know how good I am at cornhole, Jared? Don't play.
You suck at cornhole. I'm better at cornhole.
You talk about making cornhole an Olympic sport. You know how many random ass people can be great at cornhole?
No. The thing is that like you already have the professional league that plays on ESPN. So like,
these are random ass people.
No, they aren't. These are real teams. They have uniforms. What are you talking about? Do you not watch?
If I'm telling you right now, if you gave me 6 months to train, I'm on ESPN 8 the Ocho playing cornhole.
You're not.
In one of these,
you're not. No, I promise you're not.
You're not. I guarantee you're not.
Artie, I want to see you beat somebody. I want you.
And they drink a 6-pack afterwards. You talk cornhole,
Artie. I want you to win 2 games in the floodlot,
bro.
I want you to win 2 games in the floodlot before each game.
Can we just keep it to something athletic? You don't have to be athletic to play cornhole. Can we keep it to something athletic? That's all I'm asking. Can we keep it to something athletic?
You think you have to be athletic to like to be like a rifleman?
I don't necessarily think that should be in. That's gamesmanship, not a sport.
That's a sport.
It's not.
Shooting a gun is a sport.
It's not a sport.
The other one was competitive eating. We've lost Josh.
There's no athleticism. We're talking athleticism. I like the athleticism of it.
Give me Kobayashi, Joey Chestnut.
Using a little bit of muscle. Like a skill is not necessarily a sport.
Nah, competitive eating.
I mean, my God, we putting cornhole in, man. What are we gonna put in next? We're gonna have chess.
It's only for one.
We got checkers.
It's only for one.
Checkers at the Summer Olympics. We're gonna watch a whole thing of just come on, man.
It's only for a year. We had breakdancing in this year.
It shouldn't have been there.
BMX is in there.
You have to be athletic to be a BMX bike rider. Athleticism.
You have to be athletic, or do you just have to be able-bodied?
No, you got to be athletic.
My fat ass isn't going to get out there on a BMX.
You got to be an athlete to be a BMX bike rider. Stop playing. You got to be an athlete. Come on, I'm not trying to disrespect cornhole, but that don't take no athleticism. That's a skill, a very finite skill. I give you that, but not athleticism. It's a skill.
Josh, clip this. Should cornhole be an Olympic sport? Ask the people.
Asking the people.
Like if I'm Usain Bolt, I run 100 meters in 9.7. And I'm compared to someone who's 350 throwing a beanbag in a hole. Like
you are still the best in the world at your sport.
Come on, man.
We are not the same.
Come on. I love it.
Next, you're gonna have video games in the damn Olympics. Just wait.
Pickleball.
I'm sure esports is absolutely going to be a thing at some point.
No, now that you want to talk about a growing sport, pickleball in the Olympics would be interesting. Also, they need to change up the format for golf. Make it more of a team format, not just a 4-day tournament, and also do some mixed men's and women's. My 2 cents. All right, that's all I got. Next week, week 1 preview. ECU Norfolk State. until then, enjoy the first weekend of regular season football, and every weekend from here on out till sometime in February, we will have regular season football on the TV every single weekend. So remember, you are blessed. We are blessed. All right. Make sure you follow us at Boneyard Podcast on social media. Subscribe at Boneyard Podcast on YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you may listen to your podcast, whether that's Apple, Google, Spotify, whatever. 5-star review. If you don't, what can they do, Artie?
Walk the damn plank.
Walk your ass on down that plank. Yeah, and that's all I got. Go damn Pirates. Let's get the hell out of here, Artie.
Hey, as always, Pirate Nation, we are inching closer. This time next week, we're going to be pivoting and previewing the first game of the season. So until next week, we love y'all. Wash your hands, wash your butts. Deuce.